August 20th. We're out here at Lake Steilacoom again. We tend to fish Steilacoom a lot when either Pete or I or both have call-out duty because it's close to the house. And frankly, it is the best fishery, in my opinion, here in the Tacoma area because it's a good, healthy fishery. There's good, healthy fish in here. It's a little counterintuitive because it's not very deep, but I don't think it gets as much fishing pressure as some of the larger lakes. So it turns out to be a pretty good place to fish. It's close to home. If we need to bail off here and go deal with some work stuff, we can. Today we're going to try a couple things a little different. We are going to start off speed trolling. The remote control is kind of out of service right now. We're getting it worked on, so we'll be doing some tiller steering. You've seen us in the past fishing with a lot of bait cast stuff, either downriggers or lead core. Today we're fishing spinning rods and spinning reels, and lake is only, most of the trolling areas in this that we troll in are about 20 feet deep, so we can get down to where we need to go. And you can do that with lead core as well. You just tend to have a lot of line out to get to where you want to be. So by putting a point weight on there, you know, a single point of weight on your trolling rigging, you can get down a little deeper, a little quicker, and we don't have so much line out. So the other side of that is, as the boat makes turns, the lead weights will go up and down in the water a whole lot faster than the lead core will. So one rod tends to fish shallower or deeper as you go around a turn much more quickly. So it's a little different. You got to be a little bit more careful about what you're trolling over because you can get hung up pretty easily. Haven't used this out here a whole lot in the past month or so. I've been fishing a lot of spoons, but that's a Trout Tricks worm. It's just a little 3-inch river worm. I've got mine rigged up on a slow death hook, which is not the easiest thing to rig these on by far. I put mine on a slow death, but you have to rig it by hand. You can't use a worm threader because that worm is very fine. A worm threader will just tear that thing up. So I've got the Trout Tricks worm. You can run a bead on the front of it. That happens to be a stop that comes from wiggle fin tackle. And then I've got the ubiquitous wiggle disc on the front to give it a little action. So it will actually swim in the water and it will spin. And then ahead of that, I've got about 40 inches of leader. That's a 12-pound fluorocarbon. And then this whole rig up, I put all my trolling weights with a bead chain swivel, and then of course on the line there's always a bead chain swivel and a bead for visibility. Pete, I think, is going to run a spoon. He's running that orange speed spoon. It's been extremely successful. That's a Cal Kellogg product as well. We're going to start out trolling around 3. So I'm going to run this without a dodger. Once we slow down, I will probably switch and put a dodger in front of it. And again, mini willow leaf that we got from Cal down at Fish Hunt Shoot is one of my go-to dodgers. It's a very small profile dodger. It goes very easily in the water. I don't know if you can see the little bends and cuts in there, but it's a very aggressive spoon for what it is. It's a very aggressive dodger for what it is. It actually has a lot of action in the water. The other one I will probably run today is Fish Hunt Shoot Sidewinder. I got that as part of the kit with my worms. And to be honest with you, when I first looked at it, I said, yeah, that's not very, there's not a lot to it, right? But the way that that thing is shaped, this has become one of my favorite dodgers because, again, it's very aggressive in the water and it trolls fairly well at even higher speeds. I got a lot of dodgers. I've used a lot over the years. I was primarily fishing sling blade type dodgers, and I still do quite a bit. They work really well. They require a little bit of tweaking and stuff if you want them to do just what you want them to do. The dodgers I've gotten from Cal actually snap on, go in the water, and take off and do what they're supposed to do right off the bat. You don't have to mess with them or anything. So I've become pretty fond of his dodgers within a reasonable speed range. If you're trolling very fast, I don't care to run a dodger. You have some problems sometimes with them rolling and things like that, but we're going to get to fishing here and we will see what we can do for you guys. If you like what you see on the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, give us some comments, let us know what you think of what we're doing or what you'd like to see, and hopefully we get a couple fish in the boat here for you. So we're rounding the corner down here at the south end of the lake, a little bit past Clover Creek, and Pete looks like he hooked into a fish there with that orange speed spoon. Now he's fishing 2 ounces of weight And he's about 60 pulls back on that spinning rod. So we're doing 3 miles an hour. We have a chart, and we'll show you that chart that kind of gives you some ballpark. Pete switched out to a Trigger Spoon Junior. We dropped our trolling speed down here. We're about 2. That is a little bass.
About twice as big as the last one I caught. Maybe
yeah,
3 times.
we did catch a dinky little bass. I got one of Cal's micro turbo rigs on there with a slow death hook. And it's running behind a willow bait. And it's another little bass.
And I got one on the back rod, I think.
So that's the Castmaster, right?
Yep.
Right in the same spot.
This looks like a
little one net.
So Mike's hooked up. He's running that
Mag Lips 2.0.
Mag Lips, another bass. Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. We'll talk about what we did today trolling. Again, we were out at Steilacoom Lake. We started out speed trolling between 3.5 miles an hour. And the first presentation I started out with was an orange trigger spoon, or speed spoon rather, from fishhuntshoot.com. Great action, especially at speed. Didn't have any luck with that. I was running that on 2 ounces of lead, trying to pull 40 pulls behind the boat. We got fouled quite a bit today just because of all the milfoil and vegetation in the water. My next offering is I dropped down to 1 ounce of weight, and I put on this UV Speed Spoon Pro from fishhuntshoot.com. Again, great action. And we ended up catching a couple of hits on this, but no fish. And so we slowed down to 2.2, and I put on a Trigger Spoon Junior Pro, and we started hooking up on that. And unfortunately, we were hooking up with bass. We didn't hook up with any trout. And so I kept the speed about 1.822, and then I switched to a micro trigger spoon from Fish Hunt Shoot. Again, we caught some fish, but all bass. We haven't caught any trout. And so we offered 2 other offerings on the trail rod. The first was the Acme Castmaster. That caught a couple of bass. And then we caught a couple on this wee wigglewort. And so we kind of regrouped. The trolling was not working out for us, so we parked the boat and we are plunking power bait and seeing if that does better for us. We've already had 4 or 5 fish hits, but nothing that's hooked up yet, so hopefully we'll have more to report back. So again, we just talked about the transition to power bait. Mike's on power bait. We've been down, and he's been down maybe 2-3 minutes and hooked up. Right there.
Yeah, that's a nice trick. Yeah, he swallowed it. Pete's hooked up. He came right to the surface here. Let's see what we got.
Try not to get him around your line.
Don't worry about my line. You see him. You don't want to come. There's Trout. A lot of times fishing with bait, it's tough because you can't release them. A lot of times they'll take it pretty deep, but that's a nice little Steilacoom trout. You got a nice color in there. It's a beauty. Yeah, they're fun on an ultralight rod like that. Well, you don't want to come up, does he? Right in your way. Holy shit, dude. That's a nice trout.
Well, at least we get him on the right side of the boat now.
That's a big boy. That is a nice trout, a Lake Steilacoom trout. And he's hooked pretty deep. You're going to cut him loose, you're going to measure him. You're going to keep him. 16.
18.
18?
Yeah, 17 3/4.
Okay. Nice fish.